Hey there, everyone. We will get started here momentarily. Just want to let a few more people come on in. We are going to be talking all about the dangerous cold here coming in later on tonight. We haven't got into the deeper cold just yet, but know that in a few hours' time here, we will be talking more about the dangerous conditions that all of us will be encountering as we make our way outside and out and about tomorrow, and even as we go into our Saturday morning. I'm going to make sure that we are good to go here. All right, let's get into it. So we have our Storm Ready Alert days that start after midnight tonight. They will continue all of Friday and even Saturday morning. That is the entire length of our extreme cold warnings and also our I was about to say wind chill advisories, but cold weather advisories. Those actually changed in 2024. You may have heard of wind chill warnings, wind chill advisories. Those were what we mainly used from the National Weather Service to alert you guys about these very cold temperatures and wind chills. They switched up the terminology on those in 2024, but this is the first time we've ever had any extreme cold, whether that's watches or warnings, issued for our area. We do have the potential of wind chills down around -20 to -30 to go along with record cold high temperatures and also record low temperatures. So that's the coldest high temperature during the day, and also, of course, at night and Saturday morning, we could actually break a record low temperature as well. Frostbite in wind chills down to -20 to -30 could occur in as little as 15 to 30 minutes, as well as hypothermia if you are not as warm as you possibly can be. Those conditions will improve later on Saturday and into our Sunday, but Sunday could be another issue when it comes to snowfall. For our Friday forecast high temperature right at midnight, so it will not be warmer than 6 degrees after midnight. We are at a record, we could tie the record, of the coldest high temperature set back in 1959 of 6 degrees. Our record low Saturday morning and for the entire day on Saturday is -13, and we have the potential of at least getting close to that record. Our forecast right now is -12. Then the high temperature on Saturday, only 8 degrees. The record cold high temperature on our Saturday is 5 degrees. One other thing I want to show you, and you can find this on our website as well, is we do have a map of all of our school closures. So I'm going to pull that up here real quick. Just need to go through all of my various folders where we have our alerts and everything. Maybe it is not there. All right, give me 1 second, folks. So we've had a lot of school closures coming into our newsroom. They are all updating as quickly as they can on the website. So here's that school closure map. And all of the red dots are the closures. So we already have 95 closures as of 7:35, 7:36. And you can see far and wide, we have a ton of school closures, and we'll likely have all schools closed tomorrow because of the dangerous cold. So, and that's going to be, of course, coming in for the morning commute by 1 a.m. So this is just after midnight. We do have some wind chills that will already be below zero, some 5 to 15 degrees below zero in many locations by 1 a.m. It only gets worse from there, some 20 to 30 degrees below zero with the wind chills, 7 a.m. on Friday, and you can see not much improvement as we go towards 4 p.m. for Friday afternoon and evening. Some of those wind chills still -15 to -25. As we go further along, Friday night into Saturday morning, those wind chills will be back down as cold as -25. They will improve later on Saturday. By 5 p.m., those wind chills, in many cases, will be back above zero as we start to warm things up and we actually lose any of that wind that is involved with bringing in these dangerously cold conditions. In the darker blue, we have our extreme cold warning. That goes into effect in our far northern communities at 8 p.m., but a lot of this deeper cold will be happening midnight and beyond, and that continues until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The lighter blue is a cold weather advisory, and that is for the wind chills minus 15 to minus 25 degrees. Now, once these cold weather advisories are done, or even the warnings are done on Saturday morning, doesn't mean our wind chills are going to be all that enjoyable or great. A lot of the wind chills throughout the day on Saturday will be around to a few degrees above or below zero, and then Saturday night into Sunday will likely have some winds increasing, and that'll bring those wind chills right back down below zero. So even into Sunday morning, those wind chills will be below zero, but they won't be to the level where we would issue a cold weather advisory or even a cold warning, which of course you need at least minus 15 degrees for the wind chill to have a cold weather advisory, and you need minus 25 or colder to have an extreme cold warning. Now, we did make history with these extreme cold watches and warnings because there has never been a cold watch or a cold warning issued in our area. Now, they used to, of course, be called wind chill watches and warnings. The last wind chill watch that was issued, and of course subsequently a wind chill warning, was 2,549 days ago. That was back on January 29th of 2019. Check out these numbers that are happening right here across the Midwest. Minus 27 in Rhinelander, minus 48 in Duluth, minus 37 in Minneapolis, minus 42 in Grand Forks. Those are the wind chills. Air temperatures are well below zero up there as well. But very cold stuff that is only a few hours away from happening here in mid-Michigan. Before the cold air really starts to take hold in our area, we are going to have a dusting to about an inch of snowfall still on the way from lake effect snow. There could be a few inches of snowfall, especially also up into Roscommon and Ogemaw counties with some of that lake effect, which will be gone and done with for the morning commute tomorrow. But you can see those waves of lake effect snowfall ongoing through, I would say, about 5, 6 a.m. There could still be some flurries lingering. But for the most part, as we go towards sunrise and throughout the day on Friday, we will be under a decent amount of sunshine. And those clear skies continue Friday night into Saturday morning, which is really going to take those temperatures down. We will be well below zero, not only with our wind chills, but the actual air temperatures will be some minus 5 to minus 15 degrees. So that's what's going to put those potential record lows in jeopardy of being broken. And that's as the Arctic high and that coldest air mass is pretty much directly overhead. Then that front settles down into the southern states, and you can see a wave of low pressure that is going to bring dangerous ice and snow all the way down to the deep south. Texas is going to deal with this. There are expansive winter storm watches and winter storm warnings, but Sunday is one to watch because you can see that this storm system is going to roll its way up into the Ohio Valley, and depending how far north it is able to get, you can see some of that snowfall moving into mid-Michigan Sunday at 1 p.m. Now, of course, as you get closer to the low, it's going to be heavier. So I would say Metro Detroit may be hit harder by this storm system than we will, but some models don't have much snow whatsoever in our area. So it's something that bears watching. You know, we could have a couple inches of snowfall in our southern communities, but there might be as much as 3 to 6 inches of snow down into Metro Detroit. Because of the dangerous cold, we already have alert days Friday and Saturday. If that snowfall seems to be a bit heavier and more impactful to our Sunday and eventually Monday morning, we may go with an additional alert day. But as of right now, what we have in the models and what we have at our disposal is not going to be anything close to what we would need for an alert day to be issued. There still could be some impacts out there Sunday and Monday with the snow falling and the snow accumulating, because it's only going to be 14 degrees for the high on Sunday. So, you know, when we're talking about temperatures and the effectiveness at clearing the roads, once you get into the teens and single digits, it's quite ineffective to use salt, sand, any brine that they try to melt some of that snowfall away with. So they would have to just scrape and plow and hope for the best and hope there's not a sheet of ice under any of that accumulating snowfall. So that's really the gist of it. You know, of course, and I'm going to actually pull this up. So here are some signs of hypothermia. If you know anybody that has to be outside in the cold, anybody that is, potentially could lose power, you'll want to, of course, be wary and be vigilant, especially when it comes to the elderly and also the young, for signs of hypothermia. So the first sign is confusion. When we get cold enough, our body and our brain just don't work as well. Of course, shivering as our body tries to warm up and, stay warm, that's another thing that is definitely one of those most important signs to look out for hypothermia. Next would be difficulty speaking. That comes with the confusion. Our brain and our bodies just aren't working as well. And of course, sleepiness. Our bodies and our brains are using so much energy to try and keep us warm that we start to potentially lose consciousness, and also the stiff muscles as our body is getting colder and colder. We don't have that range of motion that we would. Levels. But here's a look at the wind chills centered on 8 a.m. on Friday, and this is the main reason we have all those school closures happening. Minus 20 to minus 30, those are not wind chills you want to take lightly. Again, a frostbite can happen in as little as 15 minutes. You can have hypothermia also occurring with wind chills of this level. So very dangerous stuff that we are going to potentially be going through here, getting into tomorrow and also Saturday morning. So just make sure you're staying as safe as possible. Stay inside, stay in a warm area. Don't venture outside for too long if you have to go. Let the dog out. Make sure it's quick, and make sure you're bringing any pets inside as well, because they can be in just as much danger of hypothermia and frostbite as we are. So, of course, best to stay inside, let this colder air move on through and move on out by Saturday afternoon. If you have to go anywhere, just know that some of the older cars may have some trouble starting in this colder air, but also you may run into some patches of ice and snow that are unable to be cleared because of how cold this air mass is. Making sure I keep the comments open if you guys have any questions or concerns. Of course, this is not anything like snow and how much snow will fall in your area. Everyone's going to be cold. Everywhere you go, it's going to be dangerous to be outside. So just best if you can work from home, stay at home. If you don't have to venture anywhere, if you don't have to go anywhere, best to just stay inside, stay in a warm spot, and yeah, we'll all make it through, hopefully without any major issues. If we do have any accumulating snowfall on Sunday, of course, we'll be back and we'll have more details on that probably on Saturday. There may be some signs that give us a little bit more confidence to talk about it tomorrow, but I would say we're going to get through this dangerous cold first, and then we'll talk about any snow potential Sunday into Monday. So that'll likely happen later on Saturday and into Sunday. Even though we don't have any newscasts, we'll, of course, update you on Facebook, Twitter, and, of course, our website. It's 10 and 11 o'clock, midmichigannow.com all day tomorrow. And, of course, if any updates are needed over the weekend, we will do so. Stay safe, everyone, and we'll talk to you again soon.